Hey guys, welcome to The Mom Show. I'm your host, Courtney Doyle, and this is a place I am giving you permission to not have it all together. Welcome back to the show. Last week, I had the privilege of sitting down with author Shalene Roberts, and I have to tell you, there are some conversations that when I finish hitting record, I'm just blown away at what just happened and the experience that I had with a guest. You know, there are conversations that they just linger. You may be making dinner 3 days later, and then something that one of my guests says comes back to mind. And I think, man, I am so blessed to be able to sit on the other side of this computer and meet some of the coolest people. And that is exactly what happened after my conversation with Shalene. She shared a story that I honestly haven't really stopped thinking about. She was standing at her kitchen sink. She was washing blackberry juice off of her little girl's hands. She wasn't doing anything extraordinary. It was just a simple task that every single mom can identify with. You know, she wasn't writing a book. She wasn't standing on a stage. She wasn't sitting behind a corporate desk. She wasn't leading a Bible study. She was washing sticky little hands. And in that ordinary moment, she said, it was as if time slowed down. She noticed every tiny finger, every drop of water, every moment, and she felt the Holy Spirit whisper, Jesus washed feet. Then this sentence, nothing is ordinary when Jesus is in it. And I think that should resonate with each one of us, because sometimes I think we forget in the ordinary how every ordinary moment is truly extraordinary when Jesus is in it. I wonder how many sacred moments have we missed because we were waiting for spectacular moments. I think somewhere along the way, we've divided our lives maybe into two categories. There's, the God moments and times that we really feel like we are just in tune and in line with God. Maybe it's in your quiet time, it's in church, maybe you've taken a mission trip, whatever it may be. It feels like this is the God moment. But then there's ordinary moments. You're packing lunches, you're doing carpool, you're doing the laundry, homework, dinner, cleaning bathrooms, picking up Legos after stepping on them, driving teenagers everywhere they need to go, whatever it may be. We tend to think that one category matters more than the other category. But what if that's not true? What if Jesus is still very present when you are folding laundry or changing the diaper? Just as present as he is while you're sitting in the chair in church on Sunday morning. I think one of the biggest lies that moms can believe is, I'll spend more time with God when life slows down. I don't have time for quiet time. I don't have time for Bible study. Some moms are like, I don't have time to fight these kids and get them to church. Have you ever said that or thought that? When the kids are older, that's when I'll do it. I'll get really serious about my prayer life after I get through this season of not sleeping very much. I'll spend time with the Lord, have some quiet time when. But the problem is, there's always another reason and there's always another season. There's always another ball game, another school year, another baby, another project, another doctor's appointment, whatever it may be. If we're waiting for life to become quiet before we take time to meet with God, well, we may spend our entire lives waiting. Shalene said something, and I think it's going to stick with you the way it stuck with me. She said there have been seasons when all she could do was just keep her Bible open on the kitchen counter and maybe read one psalm as she was cooking dinner. One, not an hour, not some in-depth Bible study, not 12 pages where she journaled, just one verse, one psalm. And I thought, how many of us just don't do anything because we can't do everything? I want you to think about that. How many times have you become frozen by not doing anything because you couldn't do everything? We think if I don't have an hour, well, then what's the point? If I can't have this beautiful quiet time that I see on Instagram and I see other people do, then I'm just going to wait. Guys, God has never required perfection for us to meet with him. He's just asking you to come. I mean, I've seen this in my own life. If you've followed me for any length of time, you know that I love to decorate. I love going to the estate sales. I love my animals. I love antiques. I love bringing old things back to life. And sometimes people are like, how do you even have time for that? And honestly, it's because sometimes that's where I'm meeting with God. I love to put worship music on, and I can rearrange a shelf. I can hang something on the wall. I can strip the stain off of something. And before you know it, I'm listening to worship music. I'm probably praying. I'm probably thanking him. I'm talking to him. My hands are busy, but my heart is resting. That doesn't make decorating holy. Jesus does, because he's there. And I think oftentimes that's what motherhood looks like. We're always waiting for these huge moments, to meet with him and these big milestones or whatever it may be. But motherhood is actually built on thousands and thousands of tiny moments that no one is going to applaud. Reading one more bedtime story, answering one more question, driving one more mile, one more hug. Nobody's handing you a trophy for any of these things. No one's giving you an employee evaluation that says, excellent job, making that peanut butter sandwich, cutting that crust off just so for the last 12 years. Nobody notices. Except God. The world rewards visibility and God rewards faithfulness. I have said this time and time again. The world applauds influence. God applauds obedience. The world counts followers now. How many followers do you have? When God's like, I'm just counting your faithfulness. And that's why I love the story of Hagar so much. When she was alone in the wilderness, she gave God a name, El Roi, the God who sees me. Not the God who sees me after I've accomplished many things. Not the God who sees me once I've become successful, or the God who sees me, once I've done all the things that I need to do. But the God who sees me right here in the middle of my ordinary life. So maybe the holiest thing that you'll do today isn't stand on a stage, have, a corporate meeting behind a screen. Maybe the holiest thing you're going to do today is praying over a child while they're sleeping, forgiving your husband for an argument, sitting in the pickup line, making dinner again, folding towels again, washing little sticky hands again. Because when Jesus is present, there are no ordinary moments. I'm going to leave you with a challenge. Instead of waiting for your quiet time to look for holy moments, why don't you look for holy moments in the ordinary? While you're cooking, read one psalm. While you're folding laundry, pray over the person's clothes you're folding. When you're making lunches, pray over your children's friendships that they're going to make around that lunch table. When you're vacuuming, thank God for the home that he has entrusted you with. Invite Jesus into what you are already doing. I have a funny story. Years ago, we went to Colorado and we were on a ski trip, and they had this roller coaster on the side of the mountain. It was like a 2-person or a 1-person car, and you could control the speed. Well, anyway, Hamilton was too young to ride alone, and so I, of course, was going to go with him. The other kids got in their car. They sent them on their way. It takes you really up high on the side of this mountain, and then you begin to go down. Well, of course, the other kids are like, no brakes, going down. But it is quite intimidating. You feel very exposed on this track. It's not like you're sitting down in a car. It's very interesting. Anyway, so just envision with me, I've got my youngest child with me. He's pretty young at this point, and I'm in control of the speed. And I'm on the side of a mountain. And some of the turns, when it takes you really, like you're not touching the mountain, you're kind of out away from the mountain. It almost feels like you're just going to fall. It was a little intimidating for me. I was a little nervous, but I'm mom. I can't be scared. I have to be brave. I'm taking him down the mountain. And so the only way that I could feel brave in this experience is to start pointing out things around me. And so as we're taking one of the turns. This roller coaster track is now suspended above the ground. We're a pretty good distance from the actual mountain. So there's no security that, if I fell off, I would at least hit the mountain. At this point, if we fall off this thing, we're just free falling to the ground. And as I make this turn, and it is going slow, and he in his youthful ways are like, go faster. And I'm thinking, I am terrified. And so the way that I combat that as we're making this turn is I stop and I say, buddy, look at all the beautiful creation. Needless to say, we finally make it down the mountain. And when we get to the bottom, because the other kids have gone with no break all the way down, when we get to the bottom, they're like, what took so long, Mom? And he says, she made me stop. And she's like, look at all the beautiful creation. Well, you can just imagine the other kids start laughing. Everybody's laughing because Mom, of course, they're like, only you would turn a roller coaster ride into a Bible study lesson. And it was pretty funny. I admitted to them I was actually kind of afraid, but I didn't want him to know that I was afraid. And the only thing I could think of was, God, I'm just going to notice your creation. I am not going to notice how high I am, how exposed I am, how easy it would be for us to just fall out of this thing. And how afraid I am. I'm just going to notice your creation. And so when I thought about this episode and I was planning for it, thinking of finding him in the ordinary, I realized that was an ordinary moment that I think I turned into an extraordinary moment. I think we can discover him in any ordinary moment if we just open our eyes. And so now that comment has actually continued to follow our family. And so anytime they see something beautiful, my kids are like, Mom, look at all the beautiful creation. And though they are teasing me, they also know that it is a beautiful creation and it is a beautiful life. And so, friend, God isn't asking you to escape your life to find him. He's inviting you to recognize him because he's already there. He's in your kitchen. He's in the grocery store. He's in the carpool line, at the practice, at bedtime, at the kitchen sink. Because nothing's ordinary when Jesus is in it. I hope you have a really great week. Take a moment. Look for an opportunity where you can find him in the ordinary and make it extraordinary. Until next time. Thanks so much for listening to The Mom Show with Courtney Doyle. Remember to check the show notes for any links, books, or resources that are mentioned in each episode. We want to be sure this blesses other mothers. And in order to do this, if you're listening via podcast, be sure that you like and share. If you could write a review, that would be fantastic. It helps us get in front of other moms. If you're watching via YouTube, be sure to hit that subscribe button. This way, you won't ever miss an episode. We want to make sure that we increase our reach to other mothers who need a little encouragement, a community, and a whole lot of Jesus. We're so glad you're here.